Hi, so I'm gonna do a review for a little tiny sample that I ordered from Micro Perfumes by Hermes. It's Un Jardin Sur Le Toit. Um, let me show you the picture of the bottle. They say that the bottles are, it's that pretty green color, and they say that they're nice heavy glass bottles. My sample from Micro Perfume is that big, guys. It's teeny tiny. Of course, it only cost a couple bucks. I think this is fairly affordable. I think you can get this for about 65 bucks, give or take. A full-size bottle of this. I could be wrong. I think that's about what it goes for. This is for men and women. This is anybody. Everything's anybody. This is marketed towards everyone. I put this on my wrist already. And if you haven't seen my other videos that I've made tonight while I'm recovering, I'll say it again. Please look over my ugliness and my nose surgery cast. Obviously, I'm not a vain person because I'm just on YouTube like this. Anyway, I've already put this on my arm and I like it. This is a classy smell, ladies and gentlemen, guys and girls. I think this is definitely unisex and ageless, really. Before I even get into it, I'm just trying to get a few smells in now that it's been sitting on my arm for several, I don't know, maybe like 15 minutes. To see the changes that have happened from when I first put it on. When I first dabbed this on my arm, I used a little stick inside this bottle, but I put a good bit through here. I immediately felt like it smelled like something from the 90s. And I'm like, what is it? This is a very, before I even go there, let's just read the notes though. And then you guys remind me to talk about what it means when I'm done. Remind me, okay? Now, it came out in 2011. The main accords are green, fresh, fruity, rose, sweet, floral, aromatic, fresh, spicy. All you guys out there that heard rose, you barely smell that, so don't be worried. Don't be concerned. This is totally unisex. And the notes are, on Fragrantica anyway, are grass, red apple, rose, pear, rosemary, and magnolia. So, Un Jardin Sur Le Toit. I've heard other people say many different pronunciations, but I'm pretty sure it's Toit, meaning it's a garden on the roof. It's a series of garden fragrances Hermes has. Hermes has. And this is the on the roof one, and it's supposed to be after like the wonderful garden on the roof of their headquarters in France. So when I first smelled this, I'm like, what is this 90s vibe? That's very a pleasant association, not any kind of screaming wild, off the wall, anything from the 90s, but a very pleasant, aquatic-like dewiness that I recognized. And a couple of things came to mind. I thought, okay, yeah, there's resemblance to that. It finally hit me. The old, again, guys, don't take this the wrong way, because I'm not talking about the fragrance as a whole. It's just a partial similarity to Victoria's Secret's Pear Glass, or glass, however you say it, Glace. Excuse my cold. I have no surgery, and I'm getting over a cold. So it's the dewiness, the pear part of it, that I think I'm relating with that, because their pear is in this fragrance. And this is like aquatic-like. And the other thing that popped into my mind, and I thought, oh, if I could just smell that again. this does not smell like this, but there's a little subtle similarity to the New West for women. I do not know why Hermes quit making that. I and so many other people want that fragrance again. There are actually groups online trying to force Hermes, to bring back New West for women. I miss it. As a fragrance junkie, like once I get it in my head, and just the fact that I can't have it, you know, I think I would cherish it if I got my hands on it again, but knowing me, I'd be constantly obsessing over something new also. So, but there's something about the New West. So I looked up the notes on both of those things, and then I'll get back to talking about this, which is I have more to say about this because, this is unisex, and this is more of a good smelling thing than it is a perfumey smelling thing. A lot of people pick up on the apple, which the apple was very clearly in this, but I pick up heavily initially on the pear, which I like the smell of pear, especially a nice juicy pear. So when you look up the notes, okay, so this is grass, apple, rose, pear, rosemary, and magnolia, right? So the pear glass from Victoria's Secrets of the 90s is pear, cassis, violet, aloe vera, and chamomile is what's listed on Fragrantica. So obviously that pear note is standing out to me, and probably that wateriness of the aloe vera is kind of smelling similar to the nice aquatic, like watery grassiness of this Un Jardin Sur Le Toit. So that makes sense that there's similarities there. And then when you look up New West had loads of notes in it. Loads of notes. But it actually doesn't have pear in it, but it has New West had a very juicy wateriness to it, and it's got watermelon, peach, bergamot, plum, violet. It also has some rose in its middle notes, but in its middle notes it also had pine tree needles and mint, giving that very greenness similar to this. And of course rosemary can have somewhat of that, that it's got that evergreen, like eucalyptus type smell. So I see the comparisons make sense in my mind, that aquatic, that wateriness with the fruitiness, with that greenness. So yeah, as soon as I smelled that, I thought, oh yeah, this can be worn alone, but I could see this, this has no woodiness to it, but I could see that if you wanted to, you could layer this with like the base notes in New West are oak moss, leather, cedar, musk, and amber. And that just has my brain ticking. Like, what could I pair this Hermes with to give me an even closer resemblance to my beloved New West for women? Now, I noticed they sold New West for men. I think you could still see that in like Burlington and all that. To be honest with you, I should buy some just to review it, because I can't even tell you if it smells like the women's, because all I am set on is the Hermes New West for women, which I just loved. But I should get the New West for men and just see what I think of that. So anyway, yes, this is nice. And so, like I said, I wouldn't mind having that glass bottle, that pretty, I'm a fan of like green glass anyway. This isn't actual green glass, but it's that pretty green color. Who doesn't like that, male or female? It's just pretty. Yeah, so back to this though. Okay, what do I think of this? When this opens up, a lot of people say that they get that burst of the crisp apple. Some people say it's a little bit sharp at first. And I could see how they might say that, but that would be real momentarily. This would be great in the mornings in the spring and summer As I've heard other people say, this is a great spring, summertime fragrance that is not, sweet and sticky. I love beachy stuff, but it's an alternative to like a summery thing that's not necessarily, like beachy or anything. It's not coconutty. It's not, well, the only sweetness in this is like from the fruitiness, not any other kind of additional real sweetness. It's just, if you look up the main accords, they have the main accords listed as green, which it definitely is, fresh, fruity, rose, sweet, floral, aromatic, and fresh, spicy. The fresh spiciness has just got to be from the rosemary. Now, I love the smell of rosemary. We have rosemary in the yard here, and after a rain, oh my gosh, in the summertime, right after it rains, those rosemary plants are just beautiful to smell. I don't get that kind of strong rosemary in this. It's definitely, once it's drying down, that I could pick up on any of the rosemary at all. I have to say, the greenness to this, to me, is not sharp. The magnolia does not pop out, and the rose doesn't pop out. But as it dries down, the only bit of the magnolia, rose, and rosemary that I would get is if you picture it as, again, like that aquaticness, like after it's rain, like a garden after the rain, then you would get like the greenness of the rose, the greenness of the beautiful big green magnolia leaves. It's not overly floral to me. The rose, it's present as it dries down, but it's so well blended in such a fresh, watery, aquatic, wet type greenness that it doesn't come off as like some kind of floral fragrance. This is also the kind of fragrance that I don't think that people are saying that it lingers around on the skin, but it doesn't project, at least not after having it on after a while. This is the kind of fragrance you would notice on somebody that you're around all the time, and they smell nice. They smell summery, clean, dewy, outside, beautiful day, morning, fresh. Just that little bit of sweetness from the pear and apple, but not sugary sweetness. The grass is there. The grass note is throughout. So like you would notice this on somebody that you're around all the time in the office, or that you see wherever you see them on a regular basis. If it happens to be somebody that you like, that you're close to, you think, oh, that smells good on that person. You already like that person. You think how nice they smell. However, if somebody just put it on, maybe if you're walking past them, you'd be like, oh, that person smells nice. But it's not like a wowing fragrance. I don't think it's a signature type fragrance. It's not a defining fragrance. Not all by itself, anyway. I think that this would be very interesting to play around with for layering. You don't have to layer it if you just want that nice garden, dewy, watery aromaticness. It's great by itself. But I think if you added something with depth, like for example, the New West has the cedar and the leather, I think this would smell nice with that, something like that, for men or women to layer it in that way. Now, considering you could go out and get it for like $65, I'm always counting my pennies and saving them up for so many different fragrances. So do I think that I'll run out and buy it? No. But if I saw it on sale and I have a hard time saying no to things if it's on sale and it's right in front of my face, yeah, I might. But I don't think I'm going to order it. However, if I got it as a gift, I would be glad to have it. and I would wear it, you know, happily. And I would definitely play around with it and layer it. So it's something that you notice on somebody. I think this is the one. I watched another reviewer here on YouTube. I think she did her video during the pandemic and she was out jogging in the morning, and she said she really liked using it in the morning because it just had that morning dewiness kind of fresh smell. Now, when I say fresh, I don't mean like one of those soapy shower fresh. Not at all. It's just green, herbally, wet, lush. It definitely garden. So this is a line of like garden fragrances, and this is the only one that I have tested by Hermes. I like it. It's not a signature fragrance, but it is a nice, I almost just really want to say aquatic, even though it's not marine or in any way marine or salty. Aquatic in the sense that it's very much the dewiness on a garden. It's that freshness that you smell when it's all still like damp and cool kind of thing. But yeah, right off the bat, I got that pear. I do get the apple. Apple is always crisp and nice, but I get even the pear stands out more, probably to me. Well, they both do, but guys, don't worry about the rose and magnolia. It's lightly there, but it's, like I said, it's mainly just that freshness of those flowers more than it is the extreme floralness of the flowers. And it's got so much of the grass smell that it's just more green than anything. So it is a nice, dewy, fresh green fragrance. I do like it. And I think that sums it up. Now how can I stop my video without putting my face all up in the camera? I have one more I'm going to do tonight while I'm looking all crazy. But, you know, I'm supposed to be laying in bed resting and icing my face, which I have been doing. But I still have one more, y'all. This is the throwback one that I've been meaning to do. This old Revlon one. And that's another video. But I might do that one and then go to bed. But yeah, like and subscribe and let me know what you think. Also, if you know anything about anything that smells like the New West for women, me and so many others have been trying to just hunt something down. This has a little tiny bit of the flavor of it, just a little. So I like that it does. All right. See ya next time. Like and subscribe.